Okay. Now that's happened. So this is the travel panel. Everybody on this panel integrates their love of travelling into their content in some way, shape or form. And it's just basically a chance for us to chat about our experiences and how you can turn that into good content. Stop waving at people, Louis. It's very distracting.
Sorry.
So first of all, I'd like everybody to go. I'd like to go through the panel and get everybody to introduce a little bit of what they do and why they like travelling. Briefly, please. Louis, you first, please.
All right. Hold on.
Take your time, don't worry.
Do you want me to hold the camera?
No, I'm good. I'll prop it up here. So I think a lot of my channel is based on travelling around the world, and it was I never started it as a travel thing, but my passion for travel means that when I film my life every day, it's kind of turned into a bit of a travel vlogging channel. But yeah, it's...
Did you ever go out intending for your travellings to be vlogs, or did you just travel for the sake of it and then it just happened to be what you were vlogging about?
Well, before YouTube was even around, I used to travel quite a bit, and I used to film that just for myself, just kind of fun adventures. And I've got this backlog of videos which I at some point will probably be uploading on the channel as kind of like memory videos of things I've done in the past. So it's kind of natural progression that when I discovered YouTube and came into the whole community of making videos and this whole thing, it just worked out really well that I enjoy travelling and it's quite entertaining to watch, and yeah, just perfect, really.
Cool. Lane, would you like to introduce it?
Hi there, I'm Lanceford. How you doing? I do music stuff. I do like pop, hip-hop, crunk type things. And so I travel for that, and I do kind of like touring type stuff, but not really like most bands touring. There's some couch surfing and some hitchhiking and that kind of thing involved. So it gets interesting. So, mostly for music.
Mr. Mitchell.
Hi, I'm James, and I shouldn't be here, but I kind of got into traveling really because I have no friends, and because there's just a general disinterest towards me in general. I make videos, initially started making videos just kind of to, in case you couldn't tell, I am a flaming homosexual, but I wanted other people to never kind of go through the stuff that I had gone through when coming out, and so through that I started YouTubing, and then through that I started getting into loads of different aspects, including some of the stuff I've heard before and including some stuff you'd have never heard before, and I'm an Irish YouTuber. Big up to the Irish people in the audience. Yay. Oh my, there's way more. I was like, there's 3 people over there I know. Yeah, the Irish YouTube community was a big reason why it kept going as well, because while we are small, we are loud-mouthed, in case you couldn't tell. So I got into travel then through the EU, and kind of tried doing vlogs while traveling as well, just to kind of share my stories and to get attention and subscriptions. youtube.com/JamesMitchellTV, as you were.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Are you still setting up your camera?
Sorry, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I'm BriBryontour from Ireland. I'm a songwriter, and I travel around the world because my life goal is to visit every single country before I die. That's why I do. Oh, cheers.
One person finds that impressive.
That's like you, Evan?
So, Bri, tell me, how many countries have you visited?
I've been to 28 so far. I think Louis... Oh, he's not listening. Okay, never mind.
28.
You've been to 54? Is that what you told me? Okay, that's good. It's a little
I've been to 4, so you're doing well.
So I wanted to ask you guys, what kind of things... Because obviously, a big part of wanderlust and like travelling and enjoying travelling is being in the moment, and like, for example, like lying on a mountain in the Drakensberg Mountains and like noticing the Milky Way strip. This is a very personal memory and none of you are getting any of this. But anyway.
You sound so pretentious.
Thank you. It was just very pretty, it's a strong memory. It's about like being present in the experiences that you're having. But then when you vlog, or at least I find this, when you vlog, you have to kind of put on a vlogging, like, ideal, you know? You have to put on either a performance, or you have to get out your camera and live through your camera to a certain extent. Do you think that documenting your travel in that way affects the positive experiences that you might be getting by just being present in the moment?
If anything, you get to share it, like from taking a camera out.
But then what about your experience? Is your experience diminished by having a beautiful view and then just viewing it through a lens?
I think I've felt in the past definitely exactly that, and when I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe like 8 years ago, I went to Rome on a trip and I deliberately didn't bring a camera to film or do photos, and the whole thing was just a pure experience thing. And it was awesome at the time, but I regret now, because it was such an amazing trip, regret not documenting it. And I think once you've done it enough, it becomes very natural. Like, I don't even notice myself vlogging now. It's such a natural thing that it doesn't interfere with me being in the moment and enjoying it. But I think that takes time, and it's not instant. Like, to start with, it will feel unnatural, and it will feel like you're not fully in the moment. But I think you can get to the stage where you're not. It doesn't feel like that.
Sure. Lane?
I would say, yeah, don't always use the camera. Sometimes just enjoy it. That's all I got to say.
How do you pick and choose your moments then?
I don't know. I don't really want to answer this question. I'll wait for the next one.
It's a bit too personal.
Fine. Bri?
And what I do is I vlog everything, and then... Why is that funny?
I was laughing at them.
Oh, okay. I vlog everything, and then I go back and turn my camera off, and I go back to where it was, and I just do it myself without the camera.
So you travelled twice?
Yeah.
That's why you're only on, like, what, 28? You could be on whatever double 28 is.
28 what?
Countries.
28 countries? Oh yeah, okay. Well, no, I think it's good to do the moment without the camera, because then you're not like, hey guys, you're just like sitting there in the Colosseum in Rome or whatever you're doing, having a nice time by yourself.
So when you go travelling, what kind of things do you feel like you need to bear in mind in terms of like safety, like things like boring stuff like insurance? How do you sort out accommodation? Do you use stuff like couchsurfing, Hostel World? What kind of advice would you give to any of the guys who are looking to go on any adventures?
Sometimes I like to just wait till I get to the place to figure out where I'm going to stay and just tweet out, yo, can I sleep on your couch? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but things are always interesting.
Have you been to Dublin yet? Do you need somewhere to stay?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You were just kidding, I wasn't.
No, I agree with Lane. I think it's much better to do things spontaneous. It allows for things to become more of an adventure. I think if you've pre-planned and booked all your hotels and stuff, and you can travel in very different ways, and I think I'm more on this wavelength of like, I think the most I'll do is often when I go to America, I've made no plans. I know a few people there. I don't want to assume I can stay with them, but I might land and I'll be like, oh, I should probably make a plan now. And I'll maybe sometimes I rent a vehicle, because then I'm like, if I don't find somewhere to sleep, I can at least sleep in the car, which I've done a few times. And then, I don't know, I think it's about kind of the journey of travelling and finding where to go, and I've been following some of your adventures across Thailand, Kazakhstan, and
baby.
Where have you been? Ukraine, it's nuts.
James?
I feel the opposite, in the sense that I have like an OCD thing where I need to plan things out, otherwise I will have a mild heart attack. So, like, if I'm like this, I couldn't sleep last night, not knowing at what time I had to get up and like how to be here on time. And I'm happy I was, because I managed to blag my way onto a panel. But with the actual planning, I mean, I kind of plan things down to the last detail, and that kind of comes from the fact that I'm broke all of the time. And before January, I didn't have a job, so it was even more difficult to do travel then than it is now. And now I work 5 days a week, but back then it was way more difficult because I was financially restricted. So a lot of my travel videos came from Ireland, because Ireland's such a really beautiful place. For anyone who hasn't been to Ireland, seriously, it's definitely worth just going for a weekend, if not for alcohol. But it's definitely a place you should see before you die, or just go there and die, whatever you wish. Ireland was a great way for me to kind of go with that, because I lived in quite a rural part of Ireland for the years that I started vlogging. So it was really easy for me to show off the Irish beauty that Americans just go crazy for. Don't you? Like, don't you just love Ireland?
Sure, yeah.
Are you partly Irish?
No.
Oh, an American person who is not partly Irish. Okay. No, I'm only messing. But from there, even flights to London, thanks to, are we allowed, like, big up corporate companies here?
Yeah, I don't
Thanks to Schmei and Schmer, and Schmerlingus, and their cheap
Lingus.
Yes. But cheap flights obviously got me to places, and then YouTube community as well. As was said back previously, like staying with people you knew really helped.
Do you use like services like couch surfing and things like that?
Yeah.
You know what couch surfing is?
Have you used it, Louis?
I'm looking at you like
I would so use couch surfing, but it just so happens most places I go, I already kind of know people, and it'd be better to like crash on their couch than.
Does anyone not know what couch surfing is, by the way? Everyone knows what couch surfing is.
Is this like a website, or do you mean the actual loose term couch surfing?
No, yeah, it's people take a couch out into the water. And
because before January, when I didn't have a job, all I did every day was couch surfing while watching Judge Judy. So your opinion of couch surfing
It's a website. It's a website where you sign up and people leave you reviews. So you stay on people's couches and they stay on yours, and they leave you reviews, and then based on them, you can go out and ask.
Sometimes it gets weird. Sometimes it gets weird, but I was just hitting on all that, like you were talking about the financial thing. There, you can travel if you're poor. I do it all the time.
Give us a funny example story. I bet you've got some amazing stories.
Oh boy. Well, when I first went to Nashville, Tennessee after high school, I put an ad on Craigslist that said musician looking for a free couch. And I ended up living with an old guy that would get up at 7 a.m. every morning and cook chicken and watch Superman. It was crazy. Nothing weird happened, but it was kind of, the whole thing was kind of weird. Anyways, if you're broke, you can still travel. I just did 10 countries on under $200. That has something to do with the music thing, but there are ways.
I've got a funny story. We were in Austin last year, and it got to the evening. We were at some concert. I don't know how we got into that concert.
We snuck in.
We were at some concert, and at the end of the night, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to stay tonight. And there wasn't enough room where you were staying. Were you crashing with a friend or something?
Some person I met on the street.
And then we were having this conversation. We were like, where am I going to stay tonight? I was like, it's warm enough. I could probably just sleep outside somewhere. And then this girl behind us, which didn't know us from YouTube, didn't like know us at all, but she was just friendly, was like, do you need somewhere to stay tonight? I was like, well, yeah, but I don't want to impose. And she was like, let me just ring my mum. I was like, okay. Rang her mum. She's like, yeah, cool, my mum's coming over, she's going to pick us up. And her mum's like this, she was like South American, they've got like a super friendly family vibe, and she came and picked me up, and then I ended up spending the evening with their family, and it was amazing. Like, her mum ended up, after like half an hour of chatting with me, inviting me on this family holiday with them. And I was like, this is nuts.
Is a true story.
Yeah, this is nuts. I was just like, so yeah, crazy things happen.
That goes into just traveling. You learn so much, and it's so much of an educational experience just from the people you meet and the things you experience, because like, you get in interesting situations and conversations with people you would normally never have met, and you learn things from them, and it gets interesting.
And just to make clear, as a rule, I wouldn't suggest people go to home with strangers and stay at their houses.
I was going to ask.
This is an unfair reality that girls aren't probably in the same situation as guys when it comes to travelling, and I think guys can be vulnerable as well, but generally girls are in a more vulnerable position, so I'd say I can't speak from experience, and why is there no girls on this panel?
I'm half a girl.
But I think there's probably different kind of. I'd probably be giving you different advice from experience as a girl, if I was a girl.
There was Nadine, hi Nadine, was meant to be on the panel, but unfortunately can't make it because she's travelling. Surprise, surprise. And also Laura's on doing another panel. So that's just me covering my back
So
and
you
saying I
got
did
me.
ask girls.
Congratulations, you got me.
But yeah, the importance of like girls being safe when they travel, because terrible things can happen to girls. Like obviously guys, we have to look after our safety as well, but girls have to be doubly aware. And I have friends, like when I was living in China, I lived in China for a couple of years, and girls who travelled used to travel around, and we met a lot of girls. They always travelled in pairs, never travel alone. And so that, I don't know how you feel about that as a rule, Bride. Do you have like any rules in terms of like safety when you're travelling?
I think I'm 6'6" and I wear eyeliner, so that doesn't go down well in countries like Bosnia, where a little 6-year-old boy threw a stone at me. I was just taking a selfie for Instagram and I got a stone thrown at me.
You think it was the eyeliner, it was actually the selfie. Then.
Yeah, it was because you were taking a selfie.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, safety is a big thing. I travel usually with a friend, just to be careful. I think it's always, obviously traveling alone, you make loads more friends, but it's always good to be with someone.
Yeah, I think it's regardless of gender, just be careful. And I would think, again, regardless of gender, it's a risk you take regardless of what gender you are, whether you travel alone or in a pair or in a group. So I would say, regardless of what you have downstairs, just be careful. No one knows what to say now.
So, what are your best and worst travelling experiences so far? Why are you laughing at me, James?
Repressed memories.
So we'll start with the worst and then we'll end on a high. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Excellent. Bri, would you like to go first?
I got banned from Canada. It's not a joke. Until yesterday when I got unbanned, I didn't have, I'm a musician, I didn't have a work visa, and they told me to come back with a work visa, but I had like an hour to do my show in Toronto, so I came back and I did my hair differently and wore different clothes and I pretended to be a different person. And they asked me who I was, and I was like, oh, Dave, but that's not me.
Don't do that, please.
And they asked me why I was there, and I said I was there to visit my Auntie Gladys. I don't have an Auntie Gladys. But yeah, they brought me into a room and interrogated me, and I got an official form, which I put in a frame and put up in my house, and it says, you are inadmissible to Canada.
Permanently?
Back
Is that a permanent ban?
No, yesterday they rang me and I'm allowed back now. So if you're
Canada, the country, rang you. That's nice.
Yeah, hello, Canada? Hello! Hey! No, sorry, never mind. So I'm allowed back in Canada now. There you go.
Good, mate. Louis?
Thank you.
Worst experience while travelling?
Do you know what? My best and worst experience all kind of probably comes together in one trip that I did when I was... I can't even remember how old I was. This was like probably, again, like 7, 8 years ago or something. I landed in Australia with zero money and ended up living for a week in Sydney completely homeless with like nothing. And for those of you that might have watched my Draw My Life video, I kind of mention it in there. But it was tough. Like you kind of go into survival mode, and all that's important is getting water, food, and somewhere dry to sleep, and like nothing else really matters. So you kind of experience what it would be like for people that are maybe dealing with that every day in developing countries, or not as privileged as we are. But that trip, because of that experience and what it led to for the rest of the trip, actually was one of the best trips of my life as well, because I learned so much about myself, and it was just such an eye-opening experience. Though it was kind of really tough at points. Like I think one night I woke up and there's like a rat next to my face, and then it started raining, and I was just in the bush, so it was wet and stuff. Anyway, but yeah, that was probably the most challenging but rewarding trip.
I agree with Louis a lot on that. Sometimes the worst things end up being some of the best adventures. Like you might have something at the moment that it's like, wow, this is terrible, but then it leads to something else that's kind of cool. I can't really think of my worst experience because all the ones that were bad at the time were confusing, or I was like, what's going on? I'm broke and I don't know where to go, and these people don't speak English and they won't talk to me. And then, but then I ended up somewhere cool. So, yeah, YOLO swag.
James?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was listening. Worst and not the best. I mean, I never compare trips because that's silly, because it's different destinations and different company and different experiences every time. I absolutely agree with what you said about you learn so much about yourself every time you do travel, and whether that's with someone or on your own. My preference is on my own because I hate people. I love traveling on my own. And I've learned so much about myself from just traveling. The best / worst story, I know definitely there's the worst. It was, I've been to London like 10 times now, and one of the times I was here for a collaboration. Do you remember when collab channels were a thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was on one called 5 Happy Brits because I was like, let Ireland in, take us back. And so I was one of the days, and it was a gay-focused collaboration channel. And we all met in London for a weekend. And as I said earlier on, I was very poor at the time. I was a student, and I went out clubbing on the Saturday night while not really thinking that I had to get a Ryanair flight at 6:50 the next morning. So, and also, what people don't realize is in Ireland, nightclubs stay open till 2:30, and that's it. So, when I found out that like Heaven stayed open till 6, I was like, woo! So, looked up my phone.
But then you just make terrible choices.
But I opened up Grindr at about 5:30 and was like,
oh dear.
Oh no. 4 old men messaged me and I have to go. So I had to like leave and get on a train, and you know the way they say, 90 minutes before, which I'm sure nobody on this panel actually obeys. But
I do. I turn up like 2 hours before my flights every time. I can't be late.
This sounds so unlike me, but I do too, because you don't want to mess around with flights.
I'm actually shocked by that.
No, it's so stressful. You arrive just as they're taking off and stuff.
Oh, you'll understand then.
Once you've done that a couple of times, you don't do it again. You're just I'm just going to get there in time.
So on the train to Stansted, still drunk, I wake up with like drool strewn down my face and a ticket inspector poking at me. I lost my ticket and got fined like £50 on the spot. Then got into the airport and the doors were closed for the flight. And on my way through security, I was like really rushing, and they opened up a new lane for me, but they saw me rushing from the other side, and they were like, oh, it's a spot inspection. We have to swipe you for cocaine. And I was like,
You've got that face.
I did look like I was coked up at the time. But the positive part was that I got onto the plane, and while getting onto the plane, I met Ollie Murs and got to sit on the plane with Ollie Murs. And let me tell you, Ollie Murs is sexy in person. He's sexy anyway, but he's sexy in person.
So that was like a good and a bad experience.
Ollie Murs is always a good experience.
I feel like everybody got a chance to say good things apart from Bri. So Bri, what was your best travel experience?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I went to New Zealand. That's a really pretty country. I make friends on the plane. When I travel on my own, I can't stand the idea of just watching movies. So I made friends with this old couple, and I still have lunch with them every month.
Aww. You are a much better person than I am. I just want to kill everyone on planes.
They're kind of boring, but yeah, it was a. No, it's like they're old, so whatever. But it was a flight to Australia. I didn't want to watch like 6 movies and to pass the time, so just got like super deep with this. That's weird. Sorry. Super. I had like a deep and meaningful chat with this old couple, and now So that's a good experience making friends.
He made the rest of us look like crap.
Ollie Murs.
So I want to, before we open it up to questions, there will be a chance to ask questions.
Can I actually request that not one question be directed to me as, who are you? We've established this. Nobody knows who I am.
Don't worry, James, it's fine.
I'm worried.
Would you be able to give some advice on anybody who's thinking of documenting their travels, and advice on like how you would go about that? If they want to do it more professionally, how do they contact companies and maybe get sponsored to do it?
I was lucky enough that there was a competition. They run it every year in Ireland. I think they stopped since the year I did it. I wonder why. But it's called Eurotrip, and Eurotrip's run by the EU Commission, and the EU Commission's job is to basically localize the European Union and make people who don't understand what the European Union is about and how the European Union works. They want people to understand that it works and that taxpayers' money is going to a good cause. So they take money out of the EU Commission's funding every year to fund a competition called Eurotrip, and it's a social media competition. And basically what happens is anyone can enter. You can be of any age. You just have to do it in a team of 2. And it would be something to look into, because I'm not sure if the UK EU Commission do it, but if you're Irish and you're interested in doing this, definitely look into it. Basically, you had to film why you would be the best person to do the Eurotrip, the best group to do the Eurotrip, and then they narrowed it down to 5 finalists and put it up to a public vote, and then the top 3 got to go on the Eurotrip. So the top 2 teams got to go across Europe, and that was started in the Czech Republic and went through Serbia, and then went to Germany, and then went to France, and then went up to Belgium, to where the EU Commission is. And then our team, the consolation prize, got to do a Eurotrip of Ireland. So we went from Belfast in Northern Ireland through to Dundalk. Right, you're going to know all these places, and you're going to be like, wow, Jesus Christ. Belfast to Dundalk, to Athlone, to Athenry, to Dublin, and then we got to go to Belgium to do the commission thing as well. But yeah, there's one volunteer over there from Belgium. Yay! But it was a great experience. It kind of threw you in the deep end. You got to partake in challenges every day, showing how the EU works locally, and it was just a fantastic experience and a great way to get a free trip. When I say a free trip, it costs taxpayers money, but it was free for me.
You're welcome.
What?
You're welcome.
No,
as a taxpayer.
you don't pay for my country's taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're done here. But yeah, just research, look into it. But as well as that, just save. If you really want to do it, you'll do it. And do it. Just do it. If you want to do it, you'll do it.
Lane and Brian, I guess you guys use music as an excuse to travel a lot, right? How do you go about that in terms of booking and logistics and?
It's a nightmare. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
If I want to go to a country, I set up a show there, and then I do a show, and then that pays for me to go to the country and travel around and stuff. If not, I do a meetup and stuff and sell my merch, but it's all good. That's what I do.
Sometimes it's very across the board. I'm on a tour right now. This is towards the end of it, and half the shows will be playing to 30 people at a hospital in Thailand, and then there's some in the city or playing an arena in Germany or something. But sometimes I'll have to send out a bazillion emails to get one show. But then sometimes there'll be connections to kind of make friends and get into something else.
Yeah. Sure. Louis, what advice would you give to anybody who's looking to document their time abroad and get into a travelling lifestyle?
I think, something I've realised is blogs at the moment, I think they're more, what's the word? Companies and tourism boards and stuff are only just starting to understand about vlogging, but they can kind of grasp blogs. So it makes me want to do more blogging, but I don't really write anything. But I think if you got something that you're producing that's about the travelling you're doing, and you go to, it's better to have a bit of a following, so then you've got something to offer. You can go directly to tourism boards or travel companies and say, look, I'd love to do this, I can feature you in this blog I'm doing, or I want to do some photos. I've been approached purely just through my Instagram and say we want to fly you out to Australia for a month tour, all expenses paid. just to do Instagram posts.
If you can't do it, can I go?
Yeah, sure. But that wasn't even to do with my vlogging videos. That was just doing one photo on Instagram a day. So I think there's people out there that want to get exposure and want people to want to understand this whole social media thing. So I think even with a smaller following, you can kind of, if you can pitch yourself well, and you make really nice content, I think that's some good advice.
You know, also something that I did when I was traveling around China, I offered to make social media accounts for all of the hostels that were around the country, because obviously a lot of them don't have access to like Twitter and Facebook and things, and I had a VPN that meant that I could circumvent the Great Firewall of China. And so I called up hostels and was like, hi, so how do you want to like get in touch with more Western clients? I'll give you a Twitter account and I'll make it look pretty and I'll show you how to do it properly, and I'd get to stay there for like a couple of weeks for free. Like little things that you might be able to do. Obviously, you're not going to be able to stay at the Hilton if you do that, but some really, really nice small businesses, you might be able to help out with that kind of outlook. Something, you'd never get something for nothing, something for like maybe a service that you could provide. Or even working in hostels as well.
Yeah, in Australia, I did like, I think you got a night free and then you had to do like 3 hours work in the afternoon in the garden, and then they give you a free meal as well. Yeah. And I was like, what? That's a brilliant deal. So there's different ways to do it, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm happy to open this up for questions, if everybody's happy with that.
Yeah,
You all happy with that?
I'm scared.
Good. Oh God, it's 1080. Hello.
Now, I wanted to ask with you, Louis, like losing your bag, and also with Jack's Gap, I think they got held at gunpoint on their travels and stuff. Like, are there any fears of your cameras and your technology? Do you ever feel worried about getting cameras out in places or all that side of things? And how do you protect yourself from losing all of your SD cards and that sort of thing?
Yeah, you've got to be wise. I think if you've got a flashy, expensive camera, you need to be aware of like where you're pulling it out in public and how safe the area is. But also, it's kind of, almost feel for me, it's inevitable. I'm bound to get my stuff stolen again. I got robbed in Uganda last year, but luckily I'd backed up some of my footage onto my computer just before I'd gone out with my camera. So maybe just keep backing your footage up and your photos and stuff. Just be as safe as you can, but you probably will get robbed.
Insurance?
Probably will
Is
get
insurance a thing that you...
Yeah, but it's so long. I tried to claim travel insurance and they needed my original receipts for stuff. And I was just like, I haven't got my original receipts for stuff. So keep your original receipts. And it's just, I'm just really bad at admin, so I probably could have claimed a bunch of stuff on travel insurance, but I just haven't.
I think the thing is, though, as well, is that footage equipment is decent quality footage equipment is becoming so cheap now that like it actually costs less to just buy a small HD camera than to take out travel insurance or device insurance, not travel insurance. So I mean, that's a way to look at it. Like, I wouldn't really be going around with BriBry's camera in, you know, Edinburgh. Hi to Scotland.
Or Barcelona.
Why?
They steal things.
I love how I said Edinburgh and you didn't say Anthem, but when he said Barcelona, you're like, what is wrong with Barcelona?
Any advice, Brian?
Don't know. I lose everything all the time, so just get a new one. Get insurance, because you insure your camera, so when you lose your camera, you get the money back from the insurance company. I've lost like 6 cameras. I'm just a very clumsy person, but
keep your original receipts.
keep your receipts. No, I don't know. There you go.
Cool. Any other questions? Go on, off you pop.
You know how some of you guys are saying that you travel for music?
Yeah.
How do you go about like booking a venue? Because I'd really like to start like traveling and doing music.
How do you go about booking a venue for when you're
You want
traveling?
to go
as a
first?
musician?
You can go first, Lansford. Go on ahead.
Okay, it's having fans in that place is definitely helps, but also there is still places in the world that they will bring you out to do a concert because you're good, which is great. And maybe there's other shows or events already going on that are going to bring people out that, you know, maybe they like your music and you write up a good email and you get on a show here or there. But it's a lot of work sometimes. Like I said earlier, like I think I sent 100 emails to get one show in Paris last year. But then, you know, maybe you've got a friend of a friend. For example, I had a fan that became a friend from Ukraine, and I hit her up and I was like, can I get a show in Ukraine? I'm going to be like over in that part of the world. And she talked to some connections and some friends and the radio station there. And then I went to Ukraine and had a huge concert and radio interviews and everything like that just because of her. So definitely just work hard and milk different connections and friends. And
If you are sending those emails, I have a manager person now, but I didn't last year. I created a fictional person called Sarah.
yeah.
And, no, because if you write, what's your name?
Yeah, you.
All right, if you write an email saying, hi, I'm Leela, I'm on YouTube, or blah, 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 I don't know, I don't think, as a musician, it looks very good, so I always wrote as this woman called Sarah, going,
I did the fake booking agent thing
yeah,
too.
I've got
Do
this
it.
client called BriBry, he's very good. And, and it always worked, and I'd always like, yeah, she'd read really professional, she'd always be like, yours, Sarah. And they always reply going, hi, Sarah, and they'd have a big conversation. I actually started to think she was real myself, but she's not real. But yeah, so I think it's just pretend you're someone else. That's really stupid advice, but it's actually good advice. Just make up someone called John. Just, John's a good name. What about what? What? No, it was from the BriBry email, but it was like, so I was saying, yeah, but they're not going to know. I'm not going to set up Sarah at gmail.com.
Does anyone else want to see BriBry in a wig and as Sarah?
I wasn't going
Just
to set
me.
up a Facebook for her, like, or a Twitter. She was on my account, but she was this woman called Sarah. She's gone now. It's not she died.
She died.
Very sad.
How?
God rest her soul. Anybody else who has questions? Look at that teamwork, aren't they good? Yeah, volunteers. Yeah, sorry, question.
Hi. So what do you like to do if you travel not by airplane, but if you travel otherwise, if you don't have like a pre-booked way to travel? That was the worst question.
Well, answer for hitchhiked here.
Like buses, you mean, or
Did you hitchhike here?
Or like trains or...
From Sweden?
No. I took a combination of planes, buses, trains, and then
Wow.
hitchhiking.
That's cool.
Hitchhiking in Sweden is terrible.
It's what, sorry?
Illegal? Oh, it's terrible.
hitchhiking? Yeah,
terrible.
no, don't
I
do
met
that.
a few nice people. Yeah.
I think hitchhiking, you just have to be super patient because you can be just standing there for like 3 hours, being like, oh, no, oh, okay. Oh.
Did you put up a sign, Lancifer, did you put up going to somewhere, or like, we'll give you cake, or some kind of sign? No?
That's a good idea.
Did you just put out your thumb, or did you make a little cardboard sign?
Yeah, just the thumb.
Oh,
How
okay.
does Sarah do it?
I don't know.
I often
her
hitchhike
death was
with
so sad.
truckers at gas stations or pet stations. You can go up to like the truckers that are like doing the long drive. I did it in Australia, and I'm just like, oh, can I? And they're like, it's against company policy, but yeah, go on then.
I feel like it's a lot more prevalent in the US and in like big countries, whereas here it's like everybody's on trains.
I just sweet talk the truckers. I'm like, hey, handsome. We're look at top. Works every time. But don't do that. That's wrong. Have some respect for yourselves.
Did we answer the question?
No.
No, not really, no.
What was the question
It's
again?
kind
I
of
do
cool.
apologise.
If you don't go by plane, what do you...
What do you do if you don't go by plane, or if you don't have like a planned method to get somewhere?
Well, Europe is pretty easy because it's all connected by trains. So that's pretty cool. Or just drive around, get a little car and drive around. That's what I do.
Asia as well, there's a lot of inter-country rail as well. That's pretty
I
good.
got a question. Did you say that it's a 50-pound charge if you don't have your ticket on the train?
Yeah.
Because I definitely snuck on a train to get here today.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Are they 50 pounds, really?
Yeah.
Has anybody else snuck on the
Minimum.
trains? I'm not saying do that, but like if you have to. 50 pounds.
You're
dang.
disgusting people. Pay for your train.
Sorry.
You've disappointed me today. Europe also has a great aspect about it with each country's
Schengen.
government Huh?
I thought you were going to talk about Schengen and the fact that there aren't any borders on the mainland.
Oh yeah, we did that as part of the Euro trip. One of our tasks was to get, well, ours wasn't because we were travelling through the counties of Ireland, but the other 4 had to travel from somewhere to somewhere. I didn't pay attention because I was horrendously jealous, without having to show their passports because they technically didn't have to, but they did because they were told they'd be kicked off the train. So that's a load of back to what you were saying there, Europe has a great system. Each country's national bus company has come together, almost kind of like the Euromillions, but with buses and less money, called Eurolines. And Eurolines, basically, you get onto your national bus company's bus and they travel to anywhere. Like when I was trying to get together money last week for coming here, I was looking at Eurolines because there was a bus that left Dublin and went straight onto a ferry and came to London. But it would have taken 12 and a half hours, and hell no. I love the way I always leave them speechless.
One more question, I think, before we wrap it up.
There's a guy over here.
You had your hand up for the whole thing.
But
Someone else nearly got no.
it's
two
him.
more. Two more, because someone else had one. and we took it
What
from-
were you on yesterday? You were in the panel yesterday and you just had your hand up the whole time.
He's a curious
really
person.
good.
Leave him
That
alone.
was,
No, he's got the best methods.
That was networking.
Networking.
Yeah, my best methods was whistling at you, Jessa, as a...
Oh, so I
Yeah.
can't see you because I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. This is kind of a shame I can't see your face through a speaker, but the room filled up really fast, and I was talking to the creators of Simon's Cat, so I didn't have a seat.
Okay,
But,
question.
You have a question.
I have two things. I have a suggestion and a question. The suggestion was to address the question earlier about whether traveling and documenting it with your cameras can get in the way of seeing the beauty of the places you're going to, and also to address the guy who mentioned about your cameras getting stolen. There's a product that I've been looking into recently, which is made by PivotHead. PivotHead makes these really nice glasses. They're about £200, and they have a camera built in that's really high quality.
Have they paid you to come here?
No, I would love it if they did, but no.
Do you work for them?
I'd love it. I don't have a job. I'd love to work from.
Have they paid you?
I can talk up products, but the point is that there's a camera in the glasses. It's hardly noticeable. It's really high quality video and
Wait,
audio.
a camera in glass? That's
Isn't
Google
that called
Glass.
Google Glass?
Well, Google Glass only records in 720, whereas these record in 1080p.
This event is
at
sponsored
60
by
frames per
YouTube.
second. Anyway, it's just a suggestion that you could record with these glasses, and then you wouldn't have a screen in front of your face. And also,
Wait, how do you talk back to your glasses?
Would you? Are we basically asking? Would you use a product like that?
I'm not. Sorry?
I've used it before.
Huh?
I used them to sneak into the Grammys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's on YouTube. Bam, record, sneak in.
We were in Rome last week, and Jesse from Frank vs. Prank used them in the Vatican because we weren't allowed to film in the Sistine Chapel. And I was still like holding my camera. Everyone got really angry at me in my comments actually, but I was using my camera down here, like filming up. But he had those ones on, and they're way more subtle than Google Glass because Google Glass is you can see them a mile away, like this big camera stuck on the sides, like some.
Yeah, you're not going to get
But
away
they're
with
really good. You should buy them. They're a
This
sponsor of
event
something.
is sponsored by YouTube.
You're not going to get away with Google Glass because you look like Geordie LaForge.
Yeah, no, but this has got a tiny camera in the middle, and like you said, it's better quality. And I saw his vlog footage afterwards. It looked like he'd been just using a normal camera. So.
Yeah, you do need to be careful about how fast people move their heads naturally. You need to move a bit slower to get a smooth motion. But I did have a question, and here it is.
Good
Sorry,
suggestion. though.
Sorry, we
Good
just had a
suggestion.
chat.
I do like to go on tangents, but apparently I'm not allowed. Here is the question. Do you have any tips at all for people who would like to travel to other continents, for example, Australia, but have to work on a budget, you know? Is there any tips for that? sort of
Australia is
thing?
actually not expensive. Everyone thinks it's expensive, but it's not really at all. It only costs like, I don't know how much money you're willing to put towards your Australian trip, but the flight of, if you get like an around the world ticket, it's like, it can't be more than $2,000 with a certain company, so you can go around the world and it doesn't get more expensive because you've paid for this like fixed amount.
Right.
No,
yeah.
that's all?
Yeah.
$2,000?
$2,000?
No, but I mean like
I
you
make
can,
that per video.
You can make it back if you're clever. Like Australians, like if you like music, Australians like buskers and stuff. Like you can juggle on the streets of Australia, and they'll be like, "Ooh, a foreign man." Seriously, they really like. And you're not Irish, but you're English, and they like all sorts of foreign people over there. I use my Irishness over there. Oh, okay.
I could pass for Irish. I could go like this and be like, "Hey, I'm Ginger. Hey, I'm Irish."
Yeah,
That is offending my
Is that
nation.
racist?
That was awful.
It only becomes racist when I offer to tarmac.
I'm so close to singing the national anthem right now.
Please do. Nobody knows it.
He's absolutely right. I don't know
Can someone
myself.
take
so.
the microphone off?
This is Britain. We don't know our
God
own
save your
national
queen.
anthem. Anyway, I love the mic, but I must give it back. Thank you. This is Sam, by the way. You can.
No,
blame
take
me.
the microphone off him.
Can we? We'll have one more question.
Yeah, there was someone down there that he took the microphone from before he insulted Ireland. Bad English people, bad.
Hello.
Hi. Do you find travelling a chance to get away from your life, or do you see it as an opportunity to experience different cultures and such things?
I think it's a nice getaway. I'm engaged to a girl now, so I like to get away. That's not even a joke. It's just, I don't know, it's really nice. I'm happiest when I'm traveling, learning new things, meeting new people. I don't like being at home for more than 2 to 3 days. I get very bored and sad. So I think it's a great way of finding yourself. That sounds really sad, but you know, unless you find out you're an arsehole. No, I think it's the best way to live life, and yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I'd actually warn people, traveling's very addictive, and I can't stay still either. Like I can spend a couple of weeks back here, but then I'm like, oh, where's next? So I kind of feel like my life has become this perpetual travel now, and it's kind of, I feel very nomadic, which I love. But just be warned, if you start travelling a lot, you may never stop.
Are you ever going to stop, Louis, at all?
I'm never going to stop.
I like that. Good job.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to get away. I got sick of LA, so I moved to Thailand for 3 months. It was awesome. Everything there is $1.
You can have me for $1. YouTube.com/JamesMitchellTV. When he comes to visit, I'll let him stay with me. And he'll never leave.
The dangers of traveling, everybody.
I'm right here! What was the question? No, seriously, what was the question?
It was like, do you use travel as an escape? Or
Oh yeah, escape. Travel is definitely an escape, but for me it's an adventure. And that's why I don't mind that sometimes I can't be addicted to it, because a lot of people have jobs and work 9 to 5 and hate their lives. But, so I think that it's a situation for me where it's an adventure, but it's such an adventure, and I meet so many new people and so many interesting people, so many boring people. Still put you up. That it's worth waiting for and worth saving for. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to regret coming to London next week when I'm eating coca noodles and pot noodle for breakfast, lunch and dinner, the one pot for the whole day. But the positive side is that I'll be so skinny after a week.
Okay, cool. I think we're going to call it there. Can we have a round of applause for our fantastic panel?